on standby. I'm Vicky Maponga, and these are the stories that are making the headlines tonight. President Emmerson Mnangagwa describes the Zimbabwe Defence Forces as a beacon of security and development.
And in other news, Zimbabwe's productive sectors receive bulk of financial sector loans.
And sport, Zimbabwe Defence Forces Select beat their Zambian counterparts 2-0 to lift the Defence Forces Day trophy. And we get straight to one of our headline stories tonight. The Commander-in-Chief of the Zimbabwe Defence Forces, President Emmerson Mnangagwa, says the nation will never compromise on its legitimate interest and freedom. Hence, the need for the Defence Forces to remain beacons of national peace, security, and socio-economic development.
These drills by the Zimbabwe Defence Forces are a reflection of what they can offer in terms of defending the country's independence. The war cry by the Zimbabwe Defence Forces also shows the commitment that they have in terms of defending the national integrity, which have been invested in them by the Zimbabweans. Marking the 45th Zimbabwe Defence Forces, Commander-in-Chief of the Zimbabwe Defence Forces, President Mashonaland inspected the parade and emphasized the importance of national development by these forces.
Our rich liberation heritage must, therefore, embolden you as the current crop of the Defence Forces to remain a formidable, dependable and disciplined force. You remain beacons of our nation's peace, our security and socio-economic development. Zimbabwe is a friend to all and an enemy to none. However, as an independent and sovereign country, we will never sacrifice our legitimate rights and interests or our peace and security. Colonial oppression and liberation struggle exposed us to brutality and suffering that can result from war and conflict. Zimbabwe's commitment to national, regional, and continental peace, as well as to a peaceful international order, anchored on the equality of nations, is therefore unshakable.
The Commander-in-Chief urged the forces to align their training to changing trends, cybersecurity, climate change, and pandemics.
The fast-paced and multi-pronged global developments require that the Zimbabwe Defence Forces spreads beyond the traditional role of defending our national sovereignty and territorial integrity from external military threats. I therefore challenge the Defence Forces to continue increasing their capabilities around a wider range of threats that relate to economic instability, climate change, cyber attacks, pandemics, and terrorism. In this spirit, I applaud the various initiatives being undertaken by our forces to provide military aid to civil power. This includes activities with regards to border control and the combating of drug and substance abuse.
President Mnangagwa also commended the forces in the demining exercise, which is taking shape across the country.
We have made significant strides towards becoming a mine-free country, as only 4% of the original 850 kilometers of minefields remain infested. The most recent milestone being the completion of the receipt to Muzite Mission minefield in December 2024. This has made Manicaland province a mine-free territory. I congratulate the Zimbabwe Defense Forces for a job well done. Makorokoto. I'm sure my gratitude is also extended to the development partners, international humanitarian demining organizations for the financial and material support extended to the program. On its part, my government will continue to capacitate the Zimbabwe Defense Forces National Mine Clearance Unity.
The Commander-in-Chief also commended the forces for undertaking a community assistance week where a number of infrastructure projects that range from clinics, education and bridges were handed over to communities.
Zimbabwe, including the defense forces and the members of the security sector as a whole. It is exemplary that our defense forces continues to undertake social responsibility projects which are having a transformational impact on our people at the community level. The 2025 Defense Forces Community Assistance Week, which preceded these commemorations, saw the handover of various community projects undertaken by the defense forces throughout the country. Others are at various stages of completion, including 29 projects in the education sector and 4 clinics in the health sector, respectively.
Besides guaranteeing peace and security, Zimbabwe Defense Forces also play a critical role in national development, which is being driven by the mantra, leaving no one and no place behind. Bruce Jawanda, SADC News, Rufaro Stadium in Harare.
The 45th Zimbabwe Defense Forces Day commemorations were marked by heartfelt tributes and renewed pledges of vigilance. Now, in her remarks, Defense Minister Comrade Opamuchinguri Kashiri highlighted the Zimbabwe Defense Forces' evolving mission from guardians of our independence to proactive nation builders.
They are the heartbeat of Zimbabwe's journey, from the guerrilla trenches of liberation to the blood, sweat and bricks of nation building. The Zimbabwe Defense Forces, born of hardship and unity, have evolved into more than protectors. They are the builders, the healers and the steadfast guardians of progress. In her speech at the 45th Zimbabwe Defense Forces commemorations, the Minister of Defense, Honorable Opamuchinguri Kashiri, reflected on the milestone achievements by the Defense Forces in safeguarding Zimbabwe's sovereignty, territorial integrity, national interests, and independence.
Today, ZDF renews its oath to continue delivering peace and tranquility, guaranteeing the fulfillment of Vision 2030 to establish an empowered and prosperous upper middle income economy. As we commemorate 2025 Defense Forces Day, we are doing so under the backdrop of a rapidly mutating and complex operational environment, largely occasioned by shifting geopolitical dynamics characterized by tensions and mistrust between and among nations. In addition to battling against traditional security threats, we have to contend with emerging non-traditional security threats in the form of cyber crimes, terrorism, recurrent climate change-induced disasters, proliferation of fake news, human and drug trafficking, just to mention a few.
From the guns of the liberation struggle to the bricks of development, the Zimbabwe Defense Forces have walked a journey not of power but of purpose.
Your Excellency, under your astute guidance, you have taught us to be a self-reliant force. Production at Zimbabwe Defense Industries is being revamped to satisfy the demand for military consumables by your force. Our farms around the country not only meet our food needs, but also contribute to national food security. In line with tradition, the 2025 commemorations commenced with the launch of Community Assistance Project from 28 July to 7 August 2025. The completed projects, which include schools and clinics, were constructed free of charge by Zimbabwe Defense Forces, skilled personnel in partnership with well-wishers and communities. The Community Assistance Program is consistent with your desire to inspire new heroes to champion national developmental aspirations as articulated by your development philosophy, that nyika inowakwa inotongwa inonamatigwa newe newayo, ilizwe lakiwa libuswe likilekelwe ngabanikazi balo.
Today they stand not only as sentinels of our sovereignty, but as architects of our collective future, bridging the past and the promise of tomorrow. We pay tribute to their legacy as they forge a path, a brighter future for us all. Abigail Tembo, ZBC News, Harare.
An event that has inspired generations over the past 4.5 decades. The Zimbabwe Defense Forces Day continues to inspire both the young and the old. But the story gets an interesting twist. Some of the attendees have consistently been part of the celebrations since they were just a year old.
She walks with an aura of confidence, weaving her way through the heavy crowd filling Rufaro Stadium. The terrain is not new to her. In fact, she has known this event since her diaper-wearing years, as her mother has religiously attended this national event commemorated every year. Now 13, Lesway Chiimba says this event is now part of her, one that she can never miss for anything in the world.
From our enemies.
Her sibling brother sits next to their mother. He too will one day be able to walk through this stadium with his family. Playfully, he says he wants to be a soldier when he grows up. His destiny is inspired from home, as his father is among the Defense Forces personnel.
Chakakoshera kuti mwana azive kuti mauto edu akatikosherei uyezve baba vake is a soldier. That's why ndishuya naye kuti anzwisise kuti pavanenge variko vanenge vachita nezvei.
Years from now, this is a generation that will carry this national pride. Today, they may be watching from the terraces, but someday they will be closer to meeting and waving their presidents. In unison, the voices of both the young and the old filled up Rufaro Stadium to mark the 45th edition of the Zimbabwe Defense Forces Day. Theophilus Chuma, ZBC News, Harare.
Now, Zimbabweans from across the country have saluted security forces for safeguarding the peace and territorial integrity of the nation, as well as advancing development. This comes as Zimbabweans celebrated the Zimbabwe Defense Forces Day this Tuesday.
Mucheke Stadium was the place to be in Masvingo province as hundreds gathered to pay tribute to the Zimbabwe Defense Forces. The ZDF is not only safeguarding the country's sovereignty, but also inspiring the young generation to be patriotic. For Trinity and Tricia Chetai, their parents, who are members of the Zimbabwe National Army, are their role models.
Masoja anochengetedza nharaunda.
Ndoda kuita musoja nekuti ndakazviona kuna mama vangu nadhedhi vangu vanochengetedza nharaunda yedu nekurapa vanhu nekurima.
Community leaders praised the force for being at the forefront for humanitarian missions, disaster relief and agricultural projects, which have transformed the lives of rural communities.
Tona mauto ari kuvaka zvikoro, ari kuvaka makliniki.
The event saw 200 veterans of the liberation struggle receiving medals.
Tinowa kudzigwa nokuyevuchidziwa nguva yatakanga tine umwe sevana veZimbabwe.
Proceedings at the event, which was marked with a lot of entertainment, were led by Masvingo Minister of State for Provincial Affairs and Devolution, Honorable Ezra Chadzamira, who read President Emmerson Mnangagwa's speech.
In Bindura, the Zimbabwe Defense Forces Day celebrations attracted thousands of people from across Mashonaland Central province.
The day held a special meaning for Comrade Rufaro Kavia of Shamba, an ex-detainee who was once imprisoned at Gonakudzingwa twice for a total of 11 years. Kavia was among scores of people who were honored for their peace-building efforts in the nation.
Nokuti mumisha mataibva ndomaigara vanhu vakanga vachingunetswa isi tichitenderedzwa nezvinguva izvozvi zvatisvitsa pokuti tiwe tinotipiwa medals.
Tiri kunzwa kufara nekupiwa ndaita medal. Chikonzo chandapirwa medal nehurumende ndechekubasa randakaita munguva yehondo. Ndanga ndiri munani combatant tiri paMozambique panyadzonya pakapararira vabereki vangu.
Minister of State for Provincial Affairs and Devolution, Honorable Christopher Magomo, led official proceedings as he inspected a parade mounted by the Artillery Brigade and read the President's speech. The ZDF entertained the crowd with their meticulous drills, while several arts and sports clubs provided entertainment to cap off the colorful celebrations.
It was a sea of color and excitement at Chinhoyi Stadium as many thronged the venue for the commemorations of the Zimbabwe Defense Forces Day. From early morning, the stadium came alive with the sound of drums, military parades and cultural performances, including an electric military display by learners from the Informal High School. Many in attendance spoke of their pride in ZDF's role in safeguarding peace, with others describing the day as an opportunity to come together as a community.
Mamwe mabasa awo makuru ndiye kuita social work inove ndiyo inoita kuti vachirinovheta zvikoro, vachivaka zvikoro, vachivaka zvakare zvipatara.
Ndinakidza nekumacha kwangwachita mamachira acho.
Ndaine mhuri yangu nevana vangu vaviri vachizoona masoja achimacha, madisplay anga achitwa mahosi. Nembwa dzanga dziripo zvakare dzichifembera munenge mune madrugs.
For many, this year's provincial commemorations were special as the ZDF played a crucial role in the upgrading of a local site of importance, the Provincial Heroes Air Camp. Mashonaland West Minister of State for Provincial Affairs and Devolution, Honorable Marian Chombo, presided over the event.
Pabocha Sendinoa College Power Defense Forces. Since upenyu wedu kubva tichiwana diki takanga tisatakambozoona.
In Manicaland province, the day was historic as it was held in a rural area of Mafararikwa in Marange, the headquarters of the Joan Marange Apostolic Church. There was enthusiasm by the locals who were captivated by entertainment and military drill displays, which made the day an unforgettable experience.
Zvanyanya kundinakidza maridzira vanoita mabhosvo avo ava vachimacha zvinenge zvichienderana.
izvi zvotonakidza kutongona hangu masoja achitongomatyoko nemamachira ari kuita kutongomacha zvakanaka.
President vedu vari kutigonera zvakanyanya nekuti vabereki nevana zvatova zvishamiso zvaionekerwa kumataundi.
The celebrations were a reminder of heroic acts being done by uniformed forces during disasters and as part of community assistance.
Kumanicaland kunoku tinotonase kugara takatoleiza takatofara ngekuti once tikaone tsaona tinomhanyira kwaari.
Kuwaka kwakaita mabridge kucyclone uko takafara tichizwa kuti wawaka.
Defense forces yedu rubatsiro rwavakaita rwakatambirika zvakakura kuwakwa kwakaitwa mabridge akanga adona nemhepo mupengo yaya.
The event also brought big business to the local community.
Isisu vokutengesa nhasi taita mari zvokuti dai tatinewo zvakahodhwa zvakawanda zvokuti tine mari dzedu kana kawishi taitenga.
Tofana totengesa zvekuba $80 sadza manje so.
Manicaland Minister of State for Provincial Affairs and Devolution Advocate Mishek Mugadza presided over the celebrations and read the President's speech.
The spotlight at this year's Bulaya Provincial Zimbabwe Defence Forces celebrations was on men and women who formed the nucleus of the Liberation Armies during the Second Chimurenga. Some of these gallant sons and daughters were honored with medals handed over to them by the Bulaya Minister of State for Provincial Affairs and Devolution, Honorable Judith Ngube.
Sasigijinyiswa kwesikhathi uwe ungakwazi kubana ukuhambisa njani. Uze kwesikhathi abanye tshelani ukuthi khona thambisa umthambiso ufake emehlweni uyabe ungasaboni. So kusikela khonapho anzange ngabuyela emuva. Ngahlala lokho enginjalo ngikhona ephathini. Ngasebenza nzima.
Asahlupheka kakhulu ngesikhathi thina sempi. Sabona nje ukuncindezela esasikwenziwa lapha ngamabhunu esasikwenziwa lapha sihamba ngoba into esasihamba itown esasihamba ilobhengula street kuphela. So sabona ukuthi lokhu kungakuyasihlupha lokhu sigada amabhasi amakhiwa egada wodwa thina sigada zodwa ukuthi ungathi nxa usebenza sasiphathwa njengezigqile emsebenzini lapha.
Ngiyathaba kakhulu namuhla ukuthi ihulumende thakazelela abantu abalwa impi. So ngizwa ukujabula uma nginikwa imedulo le engilayo.
Various displays also characterized the celebrations.
Somhlolo Stadium was the venue of the celebrations in Matabeleland North province, punctuated by the Defence Forces drills, which began even way before the arrival of the guest of honor, Matabeleland North Minister of State for Provincial Affairs and Devolution, Honorable Richard Moyo. The ZDF Day celebrations left the crowds clamoring for more. Speaking to ZBC News, the people thanked the ZDF for the community assistance initiative.
Sijabulela sithokozela ilanga lamabutho ethu eZimbabwe, ibutho labantu, ibutho elisebenza le community, isizwe indawo eZimbabwe yonke, lincedisa lisigcinela ukuthula njalo lisincedisa ngezentuthuko izakhiwo ezinengi.
Amabutho alazo indlela zokuncedisa ngokwakhiwa kwezikolo, ukwakhiwa kwemigwaqo, ukwakhiwa kwamabridge. So amabutho ayingxenye ye-development.
Ilanga lalamhlanje le-Defence Forces Day lihlanganisa abantu uZulu namabutho awo. Endaweni yokuthi babone kuphela bebancedisa ngokwakha ama-clinic, ama-bridge lezinto ezinjalo mhlawumbe lezikolo. Lamhlanje kulilanga lokuthakazelela ilanga lamabutho.
During its Community Assistance Week, the Zimbabwe Defence Forces recently handed over to the community a fully completed Mbamba clinic in Cholocho.
In the Midlands province, it was a fun-filled day as thousands of people converged at Mkoba Stadium to commemorate the Zimbabwe Defence Forces Day. Official proceedings began following the arrival of the Minister of State for Provincial Affairs and Devolution, Honorable Owen Ngube, who went on to inspect the parade before reading the presidential speech. The members of the military establishment did not disappoint as they took turns to showcase their drills as they thrilled the crowd.
Zimbabwe Defence Forces Day rakakosha zvisingaiti. It's a day ratinocherechedza varume nevakadzi vakazvipira with their life, with their blood. Kuti ivo will save this country, will protect the country, will defend sovereignty yenyika, territorial integrity.
Seni ndichatodaindawo kuarmy tigwana vanodzivirira nyika yedu takawanda.
Izvo ratinongokoshesa gore roga roga.
Defense Forces yedu tenge tarisira kuti vanhu vanotichengetedza munyika, be it masoja, be it mapurisa, ese vanenge vari panapa.
Zuva rakatikoshera zvikuru because tikona kupemberera kwemagamba nekupemberera kwemasoja edu anotidzivirira munyika inoyi.
The Zimbabwe Defense Forces Day is a day set aside to commemorate the selfless sacrifice by the men and women in military establishment in safeguarding the peace and security in the country.
The Zimbabwe Defense Forces Day celebrations in Matabeleland North Province was an opportunity for locals to reflect on infrastructure development projects that the army has implemented in various communities.
Amasocha aqakatheke kakhulu endaweni yethu le-Mati North ngoba basakhele infrastructure development.
Kule ndawo abayakhayo lapha njengalapha eLupane basiyakhela i-office.
Besides the thrilling drills provided by the members of the Zimbabwe Defense Forces at Somhlelo Stadium in Lupane, there is a huge appreciation of how the People's Army has continued contributing to the improvement of community lives through development projects. Among the ZDF-initiated infrastructure projects commissioned are the veterinary offices in Bingam and Mbamba Clinic in Cholocho.
School children from across Matabeleland South province could not miss out on the Zimbabwe Defense Forces Day, which was presided over by the Minister of State for Provincial Affairs and Devolution, Honorable Albert Ngulube.
Imisebenzi yamasotsha ingikhuthazile yabo ngumama lami ngakhula mfisa ukuthi ngibe lisotsha ikhole imbonile ngithethe induku lana eyamasotsha ukuze lami mfisa ukuthi ngibe lisotsha lapha engikhula khona.
They say an apple does not fall far away from the tree, and it was the case as the young ones, who are children of security officers, are determined to defend the country in the future.
Ndakataka kuti cadet so that for women empowerment, so that for the future generations tokwanisa kuita mabasa akafanana nevarume. Kuthazile ukuthi sifuna ukuba amasotsha singakhula. Omama bethu labo ivubo futhi abasikhuthazayo ukuthi sebenze nzima, sihlale sisebenza nzima. So yiko kusenze sangena icadet ngoba siyabe sisebenza nzima njalo futhi siyabe sizama ukureduce irisk ya drug and substance abuse.
This year, celebrations are being held under the theme Zimbabwe Defense Forces, guaranteeing peace and stability for the attainment of Vision 2030.
From military displays to drug detection drills, the Zimbabwe Defense Forces celebrations in Marondera, Mashonaland East province were a marvel to watch as the nation celebrates the hard work by the country's defense forces. Those in attendance at the commemorations presided over by Mashonaland East Minister of State for Provincial Affairs and Devolution Advocate Itaindudzo were excited with the entertainment provided at Rudaka Stadium. This news crew had a random question and answer with the crowd to test their knowledge on the Zimbabwe National Army ranks, and it made very few people know the ranks.
I forget about
after lunch, play soccer match between Hunters FC and Crabber Bullets.
For military touch, Air Force, Balo, Mashandle, Shandram Chatenga, Air Force.
That was a roundup of the ZDF celebrations across the country. Now, apart from converging at Rufaro Stadium for the official Zimbabwe Defense Forces Day celebrations, people from Harare always find a way to continue with the celebrations. Our reporter, Fungai Jachi, takes us through how some celebrated the day.
Military displays are mostly the hallmark of ZDF celebrations, but some people in the capital are known for having after-parties away from the venue of the official proceedings. We caught up with the Chadeu family from Chitungiza, which had a unique yet patriotic way of celebrating the ZDF Day as they took the opportunity to visit the Trabables interchange.
Papa nematsaona yakawandisa saka ubva patakagadzirirwa road toziya nehoride yedu tabva kunofara kumbare kuti tiziya panapa tisvike timbotarisa futi kugadzirwa kwaita musha wedu.
Tati timbouya pano paTrabables patakagadzirirwa nemukuru wedu vamunangagwa vakagona chaizvo zvakunakidza zvisingaiti.
Tiri pano paTrabables tiri kufara chaizvo nezvakaitwa nemutungamiriri wenyika izvi.
Tirikunzwa kufara tiri pano paTrabables tabva kustadium aiva tirikunzwa kufara holiday ngechinakidza zvekuti.
Even the children were equally excited because now they have something to share with friends when schools open. From Trabables interchange, we went to Ushewe Kunze, where merrymakers were winding up the day with their braai and drinks.
Tichingo pembero zuva remasoja defense forces ndo vanhu vakaunza rusununguko zvamuri kungoona kuti nyika isina rusununguko dai ine violence dai tisina kubuda mudzimba tichimwa tichigosha tichiita sei.
Isu topengera masoja edu vakatisunungura kunge tiri nhasi.
45 years on, Zimbabweans will never forget, and as they celebrate in different ways, they appreciate the role of the country's defense forces in guaranteeing their peace and security. Fungai Jachi, ZBC News, Harare.
We now cross over to our Mashonaland East Bureau Chief Gerald Sasa, who is at Kujeke in Wedza for the Defense Forces and Heroes Day Gala. Now, good evening, Gerald. You can proceed with your update.
Good evening, Zimbabwe. Welcome to Kujeke Stadium in Wedza for the Defense Forces and Heroes Gala. As you can see, the gala has already started. Right now we are having Van Chichi and Kadiki, all from Marondera, who are currently performing. We have these youngsters from Wedza. We have also come to enjoy this gala. Let's just talk to them and hear how they are feeling about having hosted this gala. Urukufara useine kuwene gala kuno.
Aiwa tukufara zvakanyanyisa nokuti chinhu chatatakatarisiwa kuti tinge tichipembera uye tichirangarira magamba tiri pamwe chete mukati menzvimbo yeWedza. Saka chinhu chatafarira kwazvo kuti tarangarirwa kuti tinge tichiita zuva gumi tichionekwa pasiresi mukati menyika ineyi.
Awa totenda. Tiudzewo vechidiki murikufara sei kuti maunzirwa gala?
Aiwa tiri kufara tiri kuno kuWedza, tiri kufara tichirangarira magamba edu.
Vaimbi vamurikutarisira kuti munge muchizonzwa ndevapi?
Ndimuridzo, Matthias Mere, Fanta, Makingwas.
Aiwa ndo maita basa naika kwewo urikufarirani?
Ndikufarira Ndimuridzo varikuya kunoku kuWedza, vanhu vakawanda vatori kunoku. Ini ndikufarira hangu Matthias Mere wegospel varikuya kuno.
There you are, Zimbabweans. These youngsters are very happy. They are expecting to spend the whole night dancing to their favorite musicians here at Kujeke Stadium. Back to you, Justin.
Many thanks there to our Mash East Bureau Chief Gerald Sasa with that update. Of course, the people of Mash East are ready to celebrate together with the entire nation and others coming from across the other provinces to celebrate our Heroes and Defense Forces Days. Now, back again to Mashonaland East. Now, the people of Goromonzi had an opportunity to bid farewell to national hero, Comrade Victor Panganai Kuretu, who will be buried at the National Shrine in Harare on Thursday.
The people of Mashonaland East Province had an opportunity to bid farewell to one of their own, Comrade Victor Panganai Kuretu, when his body was taken to his witness farm in Goromonzi this Tuesday. Despite having lost Comrade Kuretu, the community celebrated the time they shared with him and the legacy he has left behind.
Angari munhu ane unyoro, anorairidza, anogara nesu kuno kumaprazi, zvakaisvonaka.
Munhu ekenga ine rudo. Okuti kana kuti muti muri kunetsana zviya munhu ngasingade zhwe aikuturai okubatanidzai. Kana tikashanda wakaita tumapisi job twamumunda mawo katishedza wakatitora. Tiri vanhu vaishanda zvakanaka.
Vakuretu vaisvika pakutipawo mabasa ekuti tikwanise kuraramisawo mhuri.
Comrade Kuretu was not just a political icon but also a devoted Christian.
Angari mukomana anotaura chokwadi. Apa vengu vachingotungamirira zvipedra yavo. Havana kumbomira kumusangano vasingarove.
Zvese zvataironga mufakose kuti musumukire muita sei. Takatarisa taiungana tiri vatatu totanga taronga kuti toita zvakati nezvakati. Saka tarasikirwa negamba.
Nasuno Mr. Kureta vasisipo. Asi zvavakachidzidzisa zvizhinji takabata.
Munhu uyu anga ari hambo. Munhu uyu aida chechi yake. Baba Kuretu vaiti chero kukanzi kurudiwa chakati kuchechi. Even vasina kuenda kuchechi vaitodedza munhu kuti ngayo atore zviri kudiwa kuchechi.
His family says the death of Comrade Kuretu has left a huge void.
Ndoda kuvatsanangura as a fatherly figure mukati meupenyu hwangu. He was my pillar of strength. Zvese zvandaita ndainda kunokonsulta vaVictor Panganai Kuretu. Ndinobva ipapo ndine answer inofadza. Saka ndoda kutsanangura vaVictor Panganai Kuretu as a counselor.
Semhuri tarasikirwa. Kunyanya ini ndingachise zvakaita kumba kwedu kuhanzvadzi yangu ini kumba kwehanzvadzi yavo. Apana wangu achisarudza musoro. Wangu achitida sekuru vedu.
Comrade Kuretu died on the 7th of August 2025 at St. Anne's Hospital in Harare after a short illness. He was 83. Comrade Kuretu's political activism saw him repeatedly targeted by the Rhodesian regime. He was first arrested in 1962, detained again in 1965, and sent to Gonakudzingwa restriction camp the following year, where he remained until his release in 1970. Undeterred, he continued working in the liberation movement until the attainment of independence in 1980. From Goromonzi, the body of the late national hero will be taken to Charles Gumbo Barracks, where it will lie in state until Wednesday, where it will be taken to his home in Mufakose, where a church service will be held. After the church service, the body will be taken to Rutendo Hall, where the people of Mufakose will have an opportunity to bid farewell to the gallant son. And after those celebrations, the body will be taken back to his home in Mufakose, where it will lie in state ahead of burial on Thursday at the National Shrine. I'm Fungai Jachi reporting for ZBC News in Goromonzi.
Meanwhile, the national hero's body is now in Harare at Charles Gumbo Barracks. Zimbabwe is proud to have played a crucial role in molding a united, prosperous and ambitious SADC region. This was said by the outgoing chairperson of the SADC Council of Ministers and Zimbabwe's Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Trade, Professor Amon Morwira, during the SADC ministerial meeting in Antananarivo, Madagascar today.
August is the month of liberation in Zimbabwe, and in August in 1980, leaders of the Southern Africa Development Conference, then SADC with the double C, began in Lusaka, Zambia. Then in 1992, in Windhoek, Namibia, SADC with the double C transformed into the Southern Africa Development Community. Today, the Southern Africa Development Community Council of Ministers is meeting in Antananarivo, Madagascar. And the chairman of the Council of Ministers, Professor Morwira, opened the Council of Ministers meeting, giving a bout by bout account of what Zimbabwe did during its chairmanship.
We cannot, after 500 years of slavery and colonialism, still be used again to perpetuate the poverty of the African child. We have an obligation to the departed, we have an obligation to the enslaved, we have an obligation to the colonized, We have an obligation to the people here. We have an obligation to the unborn child to say, never again should I participate in the enslavement of our people. The mouth that we use must be the mouth of the departed, the mouth of the present, and the mouth of the future. Whose mouth are you using? We have to demonstrate oneness as brothers and sisters in our search for lasting solution to the conflict in the Eastern DRC. For an injury to one is an injury to all of us. It is very important that the resolve that we have is kept. And we've made a lot of movement as council through our heads of state to make sure that all movements in the positive direction are attained. A key impediment to advancing our regional integration agenda is our slow uptake of SADC protocols and agreements. This delay is not just a procedural concern, because people, we end up speaking good English, good French, or in French it's not like this, in English it's like that, in Portuguese it's like that, in Spanish it's like that. What is it in Zulu? Use Zulu if these other ones are different. We should not behave the way we were trained to behave and serve the colonial master, but behave in a way that liberates our people. Who are you speaking for is the question. Are you speaking for Mandela? Are you speaking for Kaunda? Are you speaking for Julius Kambarage Nyerere? Or are you speaking for the very same people that they said we should never speak for? Without our timely ratification, our ability to establish a robust rules-based framework is significantly hampered.
Soon after, there was a handover to the chairmanship to Madame Ravarafranik Fita Rasata of Madagascar, who is the new chairperson of the Council of Ministers. She also gave her speech.
I would like to salute the President of Zimbabwe of the SADC, who distinguished himself by an increased visibility of our organization and by an affirmed presence at the crossroad of opportunities, but also in the face of challenges, crises and trials that have presented themselves to our region. On behalf of the Republic of Madagascar, I express our deep gratitude and assure you that the valuable achievements of your mandate will continue to elevate and inspire our collective action.
As the Council of Ministers meet to chart the agenda for the summit, one thing is very clear. The guns in the regions must be stopped from killing its people. Unity, integration, and industrialization is the new agenda of the Southern Africa Development Community.
Oh, remember, these and other stories are available on our website at www.zbcnews.co.zw. You can also interact with us on our social media pages on Facebook, on X, Instagram, TikTok, as well as on our WhatsApp channel. We are at ZBC News Online.
We still have more news coming up after this break, but before we take the break, here's a look at what you can expect. Zimbabwe's productive sectors receive bulk of financial sector loans. Now look at sports. Zimbabwe Defence Forces Select beat their Zambian counterparts 2-0 to lift the Defence Forces Day trophy. Do stay with us. We'll be back shortly.
The Minister of Defence, Honorable OCZ Muchinguri Kashiri, the Deputy Minister of Defence, Honorable Brigadier General Retired Levi Maishlome, Secretary for Defence, Comrade ADT Nepera, Commander Defence Forces, General PV Sibanda, Service Commanders, General and Air Officers, Chief Director, Directors, Senior Officers, Officers, men and women of the Zimbabwe Defence Forces, management and staff of the Ministry of Defence and their families, join His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Zimbabwe and Commander-in-Chief of the Zimbabwe Defence Forces, Comrade Dr. Emerson Dambudzo Mnangagwa, and the nation in remembering our fallen heroes and heroines on Heroes Day. The 2025 Heroes Day commemorations give us yet another opportunity to reflect and honor the sacrifices made by the gallant sons and daughters of the soil in the struggle for Zimbabwe's independence during the first and second Chimurenga Umvukela. We owe the independence, sovereignty, and territorial integrity we enjoy today to the sacrifices made by our heroes and heroines. In honor of our heroes, the Ministry of Defence commits to continue safeguarding the country's hard-won independence, sovereignty, territorial integrity, and national interests. The Zimbabwe Defence Forces, guaranteeing peace and stability for the attainment of Vision 2030.
Navigate the Trabablas interchange with confidence for a smooth and safe journey. Know your exit in advance. Plan your route. Follow all signs and markings. Maintain a safe following distance. Never make a U-turn or reverse. Pedestrians and cyclists are not permitted on the interchange and must use their designated pathways. This message is brought to you by the Ministry of Transport and Infrastructural Development and the Traffic Safety Council of Zimbabwe.
The Minister of Women Affairs, Community, Small and Medium Enterprises Development, Honorable Monica Muchangwa, Senator. Deputy Minister, Honorable Dr. J.N. Mhlanga. Permanent Secretary, Dr. Mavis Sibanda. Senior management and staff in the ministry join the Head of State and Government and Commander-in-Chief of the Zimbabwe Defence Forces, His Excellency, the President, Dr. E.D. Mnangagwa, in commemorating the National Heroes Day and Defence Forces Day. We honor the bravery and sacrifice of our esteemed heroes, both the living and the departed, who dedicated their lives to securing the freedom and independence of our beloved Zimbabwe. As a ministry, we reflect on these sacrifices and continue to draw inspiration as we tirelessly work to promote gender equality and the empowerment of women for the development of our nation. Let us persist in our quest for economic emancipation through building resilient communities and promoting viable small and medium enterprises, SMEs, and cooperatives as we strive to attain the Vision 2030 goal of an upper middle income society. It is important that as we celebrate, let us all remember that every hero, regardless of gender, played a role in the molding of our country into what it is today. The board, management, and staff of the Civil Aviation Authority of Zimbabwe join His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Zimbabwe and Commander-in-Chief of the Zimbabwe Defence Forces, Comrade Dr. Emerson Dambudzo Mnangagwa, and the nation in commemorating the 45th Heroes and Defence Forces Days. We honor and respect the gallant sons and daughters of Zimbabwe who sacrificed their lives for our socio-economic emancipation. We salute our armed forces for maintaining the peace we enjoy today, a crucial factor for the growth and development of a safe and secure aviation industry. We will forever be indebted to their selflessness. Our mandate to promote the safe, regular, and efficient use and development of air transport and provide air navigation services within Zimbabwe, and to
advise the government of Zimbabwe on all matters relating to domestic and international civil aviation. The Civil Aviation Authority of Zimbabwe: safety, security, quality, and efficiency.
The Minister of Primary and Secondary Education, Dr. Torerai Moyo, the Deputy Minister, Honorable Angeline Gata, the Permanent Secretary, Moses Mike, and the entire staff joined the head of state and government and Commander-in-Chief of the Defense Forces, His Excellency, the President, Comrade Dr. E.D. Mnangagwa, and the entire nation in commemorating the Heroes and Defense Forces Days. The 45 years of peace and tranquility that we are enjoying today is a result of arduous struggle and dedication by both the living and fallen heroes for the good of all Zimbabweans. Your Excellency, as the Ministry of Primary and Secondary Education strives to provide the heritage-based curriculum anchored on the National Development Strategy 1, we remember and cherish the role played by our liberation, the heroes who paid the supreme price to liberate Zimbabwe. Makorokoto Hamhlope, congratulations.
Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. We're now crossing over to our Montreux studios. Marilyn is on standby. Marilyn, it's over to you.
Good evening and many thanks to you, Vicky. In our following report, the Expo 2025 for Osaka has unlocked significant market opportunities for Zimbabwean small and medium enterprises, driven by a surge in demand for their unique products.
Zimbabwe is set to accrue many benefits from its participation at the ongoing Expo 2025 Osaka, following a market breakthrough for local entrepreneurs. Recognizing the significant demand for locally made products such as hats, crafts, and curios, the government is urging small and medium-sized enterprises to streamline their operations and meet the requirements of the emerging Japanese market.
SMEs, they are actually specialized people. They do small things, beautiful, and these are the things which are loved by the Japanese. What we can come together, aggregate, make beautiful things, but in large quantities for exports to Japan.
The Expo 2025 Osaka started in April and will end in October this year.
Zimbabweans' productive sectors continue to benefit from banks after securing over 70% of the total loans in the first 6 months of 2025.
Statistics from the central bank's mid-term monetary policy review statement shows that total banking sector loans and advances amounted to over 60 billion ZiG in the first 6 months. Foreign currency denominated loans contributed over 80% of the total loans. The agricultural sector dominated loans, followed by the manufacturing distribution sector and others. An economist, Dr. Zek Murewa, contends that the last half of the year will further create a favorable operating platform for the productive sectors after the central bank reaffirmed its commitment to stay the course of a tight monetary policy system.
The need to maintain the tight monetary policy is a necessity. I know it will be painful for some sectors, but look at what has happened in the last 6 months. Currency stability has been achieved, and I think we are on the correct path in terms of realizing a total usage of our ZiG by 2030. We are on course, it's actually possible. Yeah, I'm aware of certain constraints that banks have had regarding the strategic reserves. They think the amounts, the thresholds are a bit high because the amount can be used for other purposes. Also, the interest rate, the 35%. But I think that can then ultimately be done in phases. But as for now, we want to have gains, and the focus of the RBZ governor is to maintain that momentum.
With consumptive loans accounting for about 20% of the total loans, the trend is showing a shift by the Second Republic towards promoting sustainable businesses that facilitates economic growth. Stanley James, ZBC News, Harare.
Zimbabwe's young minds are flying the national flag high beyond the country's borders, with Leo Scholars Academy clinching second place at the SADC Primary Debate Championships held in South Africa.
The team touched down at the Robert Gabriel Mugabe International Airport Monday evening with a spring in their feet after dominating among 48 debate teams drawn from across the Southern African region. Their stellar performance earned them a coveted spot in the next round of the championships set for Rwanda.
In our preliminary round, it was more of a walkover, and then quarterfinals, semifinals, finals, it was getting tougher and tougher, but we kept on going until the last stage until we got the gold.
Because we kept on reminding each other to not be as afraid, to always be there for each other. So that kind of helped us as well in our team chemistry.
It was amazing. Sure, there was pressure of like getting to know the teams and at the same time needing to know their weaknesses and strengths so that we could win. But we still went on with confidence and positive vibes.
Representing the country naturally is just like fun, and I'm proud of that. And the rounds were tough, but we made it.
The achievement reflects both individual talent and a culture of excellence being fostered at local learning institutions.
They've started leading right now, not wait for the future to lead. So, child-centered approach, they are leading, and they've shown that they are good leaders. Competition is still on. We are going to Rwanda for Pan-African competitions, where we'll be having all African countries, and we are also going to show them, especially the voice of Leo Scholars, in line with our vision, little ends but big achievements.
Scholars Academy team will now shift focus to the continental stage, targeting to make history for their school and hoist Zimbabwe's colors even higher on the global academic arena.
And our main news is off to a break. We will be back with Justin and Vicky from our Pocket Soul studios in Harare.
The Ministry of Information Communication Technology, Postal and Courier Services, Honorable Tatenda Aimavetera, Deputy Minister Honorable Dingumuzi Poti, the Permanent Secretary Dr. Beulah Chirume, Chief Director Mr. Prince Banda, Directors and Ministry staff joined the Head of State and Government, His Excellency the President Dr. E.D. Mnangagwa, and the nation in celebrating the significant occasion of Zimbabwe's Heroes Day and Defense Forces Day. Heroes Day reminds us of those sons and daughters of the soil who stood firm in the fight for secular resistance, fighting for a Zimbabwe where justice, equality, and independence could become a reality for all. Their bravery built the strong foundation on which our country stands today. The ministry also celebrates the nation's dedicated servicemen and women constituting the Zimbabwe Defense Forces, who continue to protect the hard-won freedom. The Zimbabwe Defense Forces remain a symbol of national strength and pride, working tirelessly to ensure peace and security within the nation's borders. The ministry encourages every citizen to carry forward the vision of our heroes by working together to create a connected, informed, and inclusive society, effectively ensuring that no place and no Zimbabwean is left behind. God bless Zimbabwe. We salute our heroes and celebrate our forces. Congratulations, Makorokoto Amhlope. The Minister of Industry and Commerce, Honorable N.M. Lovo, Deputy Minister, Honorable R.I. Modi, Permanent Secretary, Dr. T.U. Wushe, Chief Directors and staff join His Excellency, the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Zimbabwe Defense Forces, Comrade Dr. E.D. Mnangagwa, in commemorating Heroes and Defense Forces Days. The Ministry of Industry and Commerce pays tribute to the sacrifice made by the gallant sons and daughters of the soil who fought for Zimbabwe's liberation and salutes the brave men and women in the defense forces for safeguarding the nation's sovereignty. The ministry reaffirms and devotes to protect this legacy by building a thriving and competitive economy that benefits all Zimbabweans, leaving no one and no place behind. Through the implementation of the Zimbabwe Industrial Reconstruction and Growth Plan 2024 to 2025, significant progress in the revival of the manufacturing and commercial sectors has been registered. Going forward, the ZRIGP implementation continues to lay a strong foundation towards accelerated development, targeting employment creation, investment promotion, production of quality goods and services, and revitalizing economic empowerment as we prepare for Zimbabwe National Industrial Development Policy 2, ZNIDP2. This year alone, government facilitated the expansion of existing investments and commissioning of new ventures, leading to improved capacity utilization, job creation, and fostering rural industrialization. Concerted efforts to bring an end to unfair business practice in the economy through the task force on business malpractice are increasing as regulatory agencies are rolling out anti-smuggling awareness and enforcement blitz throughout the nation. The end goal is to enhance competitiveness by protecting the local manufacturer and the consumer by providing quality goods. The ministry continues to engage the private sector to enhance economic development and prioritize the provision of equal opportunities for the women and the youth who play a key role in community development. As we commemorate Heroes and Defense Forces Days, the nation is reminded to celebrate indigenous entrepreneurs by buying locally produced goods, thereby promoting Defense Forces Day, lest we forget.
Did you know? Parents and caregivers play a crucial role in keeping children safe online by setting rules, monitoring their activity, and educating them about online safety. This message is brought to you by Portres. Visit our website.
And we look into the arts. A talented Afro-pop musician, K-Kid Mfano Msoto, is making waves in the music industry with his unique sound and inspiring messages of love.
Born Nkosiphile Dewa and raised in Bulawayo, the artist began his music career in 2019 and has since released 10 singles, including his latest offering, Inhliziyo. His music covers the themes of love as it draws inspiration from talented artists like Black Diamond, Sjava, Fairbaji, Mfana Kakoko, and Jejing Tones.
I started music ngisasemancane kakhulu, ngithanda into zokuhlabela esikolo, doing drama, ngikhona futhi kuchoir. But then when it comes to recording, I started recording in 2019 after my A-level. Ngikhola ngiqalisa khona ke studio ngiseyarecord. Lo mngani masiqeda isikolo waqalisa ukurecord ingoma. My recorder was sending ingoma zakhe kithi, then people were like, okay, shy. I think mina talent lami lavuswa esikhwele because I was like, no, angeke ngidlule. Then I tried something like out of that, and I was like, okay, nakya Puma. And of course, Masters Hamba singing to the serious. I was listening to Black Diamond, Java, and I was inspired. Then Febji, Awala locally, Jejing Tones, Iboba number 7 inspired.
Emaweni hitmaker revealed the message behind his new song Inhliziyo, which featured Kwezi.
I recorded Inhliziyo I think 2 years ago with Kwezi. When I started to talk with Kwezi, going forward, mina sometimes nginokuboniswa ama visuals ukuthi okay le ngoma le if ngifila ngathi ayikabi ready ukuthi siyidrop ayikabi ready because I dropped amawala ngo January. That song is recorded Kates sale sayidrop because if I idea music video ngasengiyazi I hardly drop ama songs amengela ama visuals.
With his commitment and passion for music, the rising star is poised to take the Afro-pop genre to the next level.
And from the arts, we go to sport, but first we take a break. Anashe will join us later.
On the occasion of the Heroes and Defense Forces Days, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Trade joins His Excellency Dr. Emmerson Dambudzo Mnangagwa, the President of the Republic of Zimbabwe and Commander-in-Chief of the Zimbabwe Defense Forces and the entire nation of Zimbabwe in paying tribute to and celebration of the brave heroes and heroines, both living and departed, who fought for the country's independence, laid the foundation for a sovereign and independent Zimbabwe. The selfless sacrifice and dedication of these gallant sons and daughters of Zimbabwe exemplified the doctrine Nyika inovakwa nevene vayo, ilizwe lakiwa ngabanikazi balo. A country is built by its own people, which guides the implementation of Zimbabwe's foreign policy and development agenda today. In keeping with this doctrine, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Trade remains steadfast in its reaffirmation, engagement, and re-engagement efforts in the pursuit of the national objective of ensuring happy, prosperous, and fulfilling lives for all Zimbabweans, leaving no one and no place behind. As we reflect on the valiant efforts of these brave sons and daughters of the soil, we remain inspired to be resolute guardians of our nation's interests, with the unwavering commitment to ensure that Zimbabwe will forever be a sovereign and independent state. Happy Heroes and Defense Forces Days, Zimbabwe. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Trade, for the integrity, dignity, and prosperity of Zimbabwe. The Speaker of Parliament, Honorable Advocate J.F.N. Mudenda, the President of the Senate, Honorable M.M. Chinomona, the Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly, Honorable T. Gezi, the Deputy President of the Senate, Lieutenant General Retired M. Aranyambuya, members of the Committee on Standing Rules and Orders, members of Parliament, the Clerk of Parliament, Mr. K.M. Chokuda, and staff of Parliament, join the President, His Excellency, Comrade Dr. E.D. Mnangagwa, and the entire nation in commemorating the Heroes' Day in remembrance of the fallen and living heroes and heroines of the liberation struggle. Indeed, Zimbabwe's independence, sovereignty, and territorial integrity we so cherish today was earned through the priceless blood and supreme sacrifice of thousands of gallant sons and daughters of the soil. Quintessentially, this solemn day is a poignant reminder that we have a sacrosanct responsibility to safeguard the legacy of our fearless liberators by promoting peace and unity, conditions precedent for national development. The sacrifices of our heroes and heroines must inspire us to aspire to build a prosperous and empowered upper middle income society in line with the Vision 2030 mantra as espoused under the visionary leadership of His Excellency President Comrade Dr. E.D. Mnangagwa, as intertwined and augmented by the leitmotif for Heroes 2025, devolve and develop together towards Vision 2030. Instructively, Zimbabwe has witnessed a resurgence of patriotic zeal where ordinary citizens are celebrated for extraordinary contributions to the nation. The National Heroes Day honors and awards stand as a testament to this national recognition which affirms not just historical legends but contemporary patriots for their sterling contribution to the national development agenda. That is why the Parliament of Zimbabwe reaffirms its commitment to upholding the ideals for which our heroes and heroines selflessly sacrificed their lives for Zimbabwe to be free and independent. Long live Zimbabwe! Long live our heroes and heroines! Long live our freedom and independence! Parliament of Zimbabwe, a strong, independent, people-driven, world-class parliament.
Welcome to the Sports Corner. Anna Shamrombe is here with the latest in the world of sport. Now, the Zimbabwe Defence Forces select side has lifted the Zimbabwe Defence Forces Day Trophy after beating Zambia Defence Forces select 2-0 at Rufaro Stadium.
Ambience makes a football match. The crowds turned up in their numbers and with their voices anticipating a beautiful match. The players did not disappoint. Zimbabwe, playing in front of their crowd, were eager to retain pride and they duly started on the front foot. It was no surprise when Saisan Mudimba lobbed the ball over the Zambian goalkeeper into the back of the net in the 11th minute. The hosts threatened to overrun their visitors, but they slowed down, perhaps preserving dignity for their neighbors. The second half started off pretty much the same way as the first stanza, as Nigel Hunga killed the match's contest with another beautiful goal.
I'm actually very, very happy because it's a good result on a special day, so I'm very happy.
You know, scoring is very important. In whatever game you are playing, when you are scoring, it gives more motivation. So, like for us, it was difficult to score. So even the goals that were allowed, the team, I think the morale was a bit shaken up.
The Zimbabwe Defence Forces select team pocketed 20,000 United States dollars for the victory, while the visitors walked away with 15,000 United States dollars. Lawrence Tusira, ZBC News, Harare.
Combative Scotland midfielder Moses Shidolo is looking to win the Premier Soccer League in his debut season in the country, having settled well and proved a vital cog of the second-placed side.
The tough tackling defensive midfielder has taken the league by storm after signing during the mid-season window from Botswana, where he was playing for Matabele. Ever since making his Premier Soccer League debut against Gesi Platinum Stars, Shidolo has not looked back. In fact, he has been the driving force behind the team's recent form. Mavuku-based Scotland have won all 5 of the matches that he has played in, as well as registering success in cup competitions. The gritty midfielder is not only tough tackling, but also scores goals, especially with his late runs into the penalty area. As Scotland prepares to face tricky Herentals in the Premier Soccer League on Friday, Shidolo will be looking to continue with his impressive performances so far. Lawrence Tusira, ZBC News, Harare.
Zimbabwe's bid to move up the rankings in the Davis Cup suffered a blow after a 3-0 loss to Senegal in the Africa Zone Group 3 matches played at Harare Sports Club.
Zimbabwe is hosting the Davis Cup Africa Zone Group 3 matches at Harare Sports Club, where Senegal, Namibia, Algeria and Nigeria are bidding to move up to Euro Africa Zone Group 2. The hosts, whose memories of past glory are slowly fading, faced West African minnows Senegal in their first encounter this Tuesday. With their backs against the wall and without top-ranked player Benjamin Loko, who is out injured, his brother Courtney took over the reins. However, the younger Loko struggled to set a foundation for the team when he faced Seydina Andre in the first match of the tie against Senegal. Andre dominated the match, especially with his saves and a baseline game that caused Courtney Loko problems all match. Eventually, Lok lost 6-1, 6-4 against the Senegalese, who was eager to impress. In the second match, Mesluli Sibanda put up a fight, but it was no match for Nicolas Jaidin after going down 6-4, 6-4 in the second match. The hosts failed to restore pride in the doubles to go down 3-0 in the first tie. Zimbabwe are bidding to make the playoffs of the Euro Africa Zone Group 2, where the top 3 nations from the tournament will progress, while the bottom 2 will be relegated to Africa Group 4. At its peak, Zimbabwe used to play in the Elite Award Group. Lawrence Trusera, ZBC News, Harare.
That's it from the Sports Corner. Guys, it's back to you.
Anashe, thank you very much. And that's a wrap from the main news team. We're done for tonight when we're back tomorrow.
Good night.
Thank you.